Today, imbeciles and idiots, we are going to beat Dungeon Defenders 2, a tower defense game, without placing any towers. Now, let me explain how this is possible. In Dungeon Defenders 2, there are different classes and playstyles that come along with them. Each class has different towers, abilities, and attacks, but we're going to be ignoring the towers and focus only on the abilities and attacks. The Apprentice has a ranged primary attack and some decent abilities such as a homing attack, a stunning attack, and a decent crowd clearer. The Squire has a melee primary attack, a shield to block damage, and some great abilities like an incredible ranged attack, a taunt, and a decent crowd clearer similar to the Apprentice's. The Huntress has a ranged attack and decent abilities, but is outclassed by the other classes for this challenge. The Monk has both melee and ranged attacks, and has some good abilities like a stun, a ranged attack that knocks back foes, and a buffing ability. For this challenge, I'm going to use the Squire for its taunt, good defense, and great melee. To start the challenge, all we would have to do is just beat the first tutorial level and get on our way. And well, shoot me. Welcome to hell. The tutorial level starts with pre-placed towers. Well, and you know what, for now, let's just say that those towers don't really count because nobody in our party actually placed them. So if we ignore that and we just keep going along, we reach another roadblock. It forces us to place towers after the first wave ends. And well, even though I tried quite a few things to avoid the tutorial, it just ended up either freezing the game or not working. So I decided that just selling the towers before the round started would be fine. After that, the tutorial is a cakewalk and you can get on to playing the rest of the game towerless. Now, while the tutorial levels would continue normally if you just keep playing, if you play on hard mode after beating the first level, you can avoid placing any towers. This is also the first mission with a sub-objective to defend. When most sub-objectives are destroyed, you don't lose right away, but they do open up another path for more enemies to enter from, so you'll probably want to avoid letting them get destroyed. Overall, the second level is quite easy, and playing through it is quite enjoyable. And after beating the boss, we move on to the third level. Now, the third level, Greystone Plaza, seems to not be able to be done without placing any towers, because of the sheer number of enemies. Luckily for me, I have met an annoying group of idiots to help me out with this. Dungeon Defenders 2 is a multiplayer game after all, and that's how I plan to get around the sheer amount of enemies. By getting idiots from the channel 2 to 6 idiots, where collectively they have about half the IQ of your average house cat. But with more idiots helping, it becomes pretty easy to brute force my way to victory. Even though we had a lack of intelligence, correction, an extreme lack of intelligence, I thought we could brute force our way through the next levels, which, well, resulted in this. We tried many more times, and we couldn't think of a thing to do. Luckily, like one of those idiots' stupid statements.
You know, if you get enough idiots together and enough time, you can get like an okay idea at least.
We ended up with a passable plan. Our issue was the flying units overtaking us, and the solution was simple: panic. Then someone swaps heroes to the Apprentice, kills them, and panic again because enemies start breaking through, then repeat until we've won. After beating that level, and an amount of tries that I won't make public, we made it to the next level. The next level wasn't hard in theory, but some of the teammates weren't able to quite keep a hold of their lane. But after moving around which lane everybody was placed in, and a few class changes, we were able to do it. Now for the next level. This one thing sums it up pretty well. During this level, there are a few things to worry about. The horde of enemies, flying enemies, and the suicide kobolds. If a single one hits you or the cart, the damage it deals is insane. And with the amount of enemies all at once, it tends to overwhelm you. Without towers, the sheer numbers and massive damage the enemies can deal can make this quite challenging. So challenging, in fact, we fools had to lower the difficulty as the tutorial is no longer in place, allowing you to play on the easier difficulty without placing towers. After doing that, this level becomes way easier and allows us to beat it and move on. The semi-final level was actually really easy and relaxing, so even though one of the idiots had to leave, we were able to beat it with only 3 people. For the final level, it really wasn't that hard once the third idiot came back, and when it came to fight Betsy, I took her down, making this game go from tower defense to tower offense. I recommend trying this out with a group of friends, and it was pretty fun hanging out with those idiots. Go free to check them out as well. This time, I promise that you can all do better than me on this challenge. After all, I'm only an absolute imbecile. See you guys next time.